Thanks, Mary. I'm a farmer from Rutland, 620 acres, 252 hectares, which for those of you who aren't farmers is perhaps quite difficult to visualize, but there's 640 acres in a square mile. So it's almost a square mile. And I've been in a big environmental scheme for the last 11 years, and that finished last Saturday. So I'm now looking to go into another environmental scheme, which is one of the new UK government environmental schemes. The old one was an EU one. And that involves me taking half of my arable production out. So I'm obviously going to get paid to do that and plant it with pollen and nectar mix and wild birdseed mix and all those nice things. But if that lost production has got to be made up by importing lower standard food halfway around the world from a farmer who's knocking the rainforest down to grow it, not only have you shot yourself in the foot, you've shot yourself in the head. So it's completely ridiculous. And if we think about it, in the UK, 70% of the UK land area is actively farmed, but only 30% of that is used to grow crops. The rest of it is just rough grazing for livestock. So basically, that's 20% of the land area is used for growing crops. And if we were to pile all the food up that we produce in this country into a big pile on the 1st of January and not import anything, that food would run out on the 14th of August. So 20 years ago, that date was somewhere in the middle of September. So we're going backwards. We need to be pushing that date forwards, obviously, towards the end of the year and becoming more self-sufficient, not less self-sufficient. And this government seems to be turning us as farmers into park keepers and just thinking they'll be able to import everything. Now, my argument against that is, A, it's ridiculous to cart things halfway around the world, especially things like soft fruit and vegetables, because all you're doing is moving someone else's water around the world, probably from a country that hasn't got enough water anyway. So we need to be upping our production. And one way we can do that, or there's three things you can do really to UK agriculture, and that's continue with the same level of support as we've got now and have had historically with the EU. That was about £3.5 billion a year that was ring fenced and went into UK agriculture. This government has said it's going to continue that level of support for the length of this parliament. This parliament could end tomorrow. So that is a hollow promise. The second thing you could potentially do is pay more for your food. And then you wouldn't have to have the same level of support. No government will allow that to happen because it drives inflation up. And if it looks as if food prices are going to go too high, what they'll do is just import everything. And the third thing you can do is just import everything and not have any farmers at all, which seems to be what they're doing. But I mean, it's a massive risk strategically because if you fall out with the people that are providing you with the food, or there's a global weather event that suddenly there isn't enough to go around, doesn't matter how much money you've got, people are going to feed their own population first. So you're not going to be able to buy it. So they've got themselves in a complete bugger's muddle, to use a rather rude term. But I mean, the whole thing is completely ludicrous. I mean, if you look at an income for a farmer, say in the region of the northeast of England, with direct support from the EU, that farm would earn on average about £32,900 a year. Without those direct payments, that figure drops to 800. That is for a year's work. Now, if any of you have seen Jeremy Clarkson's program on farming on Amazon, I mean, some of it was very contrived, but a couple of the programs were actually very informative. And the last one, where he sat down with his advisor and accountant and worked out how much money he made, bearing in mind it's a 1,000-acre arable farm. He made something like £144 over the year before support. I mean, he's very lucky that he does things like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and has got lots of franchises and things, so he's a multimillionaire anyway. Most farmers don't have that luxury. And I would predict Not pessimistically, I don't think that there'll be at least 30 to 40,000 less farmers in this country in the next 5 to 10 years. And the ones that will go will be the small family farms that are the backbone of UK agriculture. Anything under probably between 1,000 and 2,000 acres, I think, will go. And what you'll get is big industrial type farms moving in. They won't care about the local flora and fauna, and they won't have the knowledge of the local flora and fauna like the family farmers do. And they'll come in with their massive machines and industrially farm it, and away they go. And that money that they do get from the government will not go into the local economy as it does now. Because, of course, me as a farmer here, quite a small farmer, will be putting money into the local economy. If my farm was run by one of the massive farming companies, they will take the money back to their shareholders and distribute it to them rather than distributing it into the local economy. So it's a big problem that we're facing. But I mean, if we look at it, food is cheaper now than it ever has been historically. People now spend about 10% of their disposable income on their weekly shop, where historically it would have been 50, 60%. So in real terms, food has never, ever been cheaper. And every government always advocates cheap food because they know full well that it drives up inflation. So I'll stop there and hand over to Steve, who I think is going to say something next.